Hi, everybody. We are so excited to be here with you today, and Kelsey and I are wanting to share a little bit more personally about our journeys with Contact Improv and also more about our workshop and what you will get from it if you choose to join us. So maybe what I would love to know is what you have gotten from Contact and how you found it and what's your relationship with it.
Let's see. I found Contact actually back in college before I even found ecstatic dance, which is another big passion of mine. But it was this class in college that really intrigued me about no choreography and just like diving into movement and connection with each other and creating dance from that. And it was the first dance class that I experienced that I felt dropped in deeper than just the creative expression of dance. It felt like it built intimacy. It felt like it built or allowed vulnerability. And it was kind of intense for me because it was my first experience into it. And also I was addicted to it. I went every other semester after that. I couldn't get enough.
I got addicted to it too. I wonder what that's about.
Yeah. How did you find it?
I actually found it like a year and a half ago. Okay. So I'm newer to it, I suppose, but I also loved ecstatic dance. And what I found was really beautiful for me was it was like I had been just dancing with myself for the most part and channeling energy, which we'll talk about in a minute as far as our workshop goes. But with this, it was like I had somebody to mirror me. Like I had something to feel and see myself deeper through like this connection with a total stranger at times. And there's something about that too, of my ability to trust myself and trust that I can navigate boundaries and that I can navigate like how to move my body with somebody else. And
yeah,
it's like a self-trust was like a big part of my journey with Contact.
How do you feel like it's changed from when you first found it to now?
Oh man, such a good question. I think when I first found it, it was like I was still in my head a lot, like, how am I doing this right? Am I like pushing up against other people's boundaries and like questioning that? And now I feel like I can move a little more freely. And also it's informed my solo dance as well. So having done Contact, now I feel like I can come back to myself in a different way. Even if I'm not in physical contact with someone, I feel like I'm still in contact with something greater now.
For me, Contact kind of made my solo dance richer.
Yeah.
Like it definitely opened up different levels of intensity or like feeling or just like capacity to feel connected, even if it wasn't to other people specifically, of just like in the flow. I think Contact really taught me different ways of getting into flow that has enriched my solo dance so much.
I love that. I kind of want to bridge, I feel called to kind of bridge this into like life, because that's what our workshop's going to be a lot about, is like surrendering, like really being in the embodiment of surrender and flow. Like how that looks in quote dance, right? But then also how do we move that concept, that felt embodied experience into our life, of just like being safe to be in the flow and not knowing what's coming next and not knowing what life's going to bring us. And then like, can we shift with it? And it's like being in a dance with life.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, completely. And I think something that comes up for me with Contact and relating it to life is in Contact, if I start to think too much, if I'm like analyzing, trying to like figure out what is going to be the next step and there's really no way of knowing, then I lose it, right? I get out of the experience of it, I get out of the flow of it. And I think that can be the same thing with life, for at least for me. Like if I am just like analyzing every step or just not being present, then everything becomes so much harder.
Yes.
Versus being present, allowing what is, and being just like tapped into my intuition in daily life. So much easier. Everything becomes so much easier.
Everything works out.
If I like stop getting out, if I get out of my head a little bit more, it just seems to flow better.
Yeah. So I think that's a key component, is like really practicing getting out of our own way and out of, when I say that, I mean out of our head, and really let the body lead. And like there's been epiphanies that I have had in Contact where I would have never had in meditation or anything else for that matter. Like just because like the body shows you things that like sitting in stillness or in your head is just never going to.
Yeah.
It's wild.
So our upcoming workshop is Deeper Contact, and it's going to be an immersion. It'll be a 1-day, 6-hour workshop from 10 to 4. And kind of wanted to dive in a little bit more about what that experience will be like. It's not going to be like this contact technique class. It's going to be taking contact as a medium to kind of explore these deeper levels that Jess and I have been talking about. Vulnerability, about how it can mirror in our daily lives, how listening to the body, listening to ourselves, feeling these deeper connections, and exploring that through different modalities, different like discussions, journaling.
Like there will be touch involved, so that's something that to be aware of, but it's really just for the purpose of exploring your own experience, just like we talked about. So the touch piece will be helping you to be able to feel more of yourself. That's really the goal, this deeper intimacy into yourself. And also, I mean, there is an element of community healing that does occur with this though as well. So yes, it's about yourself, but it's also about you in relation to community. And I think we both can agree that community is deeply healing, and we don't have enough of it.
Yeah, I think the way that we exist in the world, where we are often very much in our own like physical bubbles, especially with, you know, people we don't know, and to break down some of those barriers in these containers where we can explore that really consciously, of like dancing and contact with somebody that you maybe just met that day can really be healing. I think it can really be such an experience of wow, like we are still, even if we're strangers, like we are still like the divine, we are still these incredible human beings, and we can break through those barriers and communicate through this non-verbal style and express ourselves and see each other and witness and celebrate each other.
I love that you brought that up, like the nonverbal, because I do feel like that's a big piece of this, is learning your own body language, like the language of the body, and then how my body language speaks to yours, or, you know, how that is in relationship. And it's so powerful.
Yeah. And so Jess and I, one thing that we keep saying to each other is like, we're going to have play.
Yeah.
We're going to have play involved.
Totally.
Because we both typically like to go deep.
It's true. Dive deep. Yeah.
Diving deep. And we definitely want to dive deep. But also there's going to be a lot of play. There's going to be a lot of lightness. There's going to be practices that are more like silly, that bring out like your inner child. It's going to hopefully laughter, and like it doesn't have to be so serious and so deep all the time. Play can be such a powerful way to actually dive in deep.
Yes.
And so we are definitely going to be doing that.
Yes. Our goal is that you will leave with a sense, like a deeper awareness of yourself and how you move through the world, and some tools that you can, new tools that you can take with you from what you learn in this immersive day, that you can like right away apply to your life.
So in case you are completely new to the concept of Contact Improv, I just wanted to share a little bit about what it is. It's basically communication between 2 or more moving bodies. That can be through weight sharing, that can be through point of contact, that can even be energetically without touch at all. And it's really about this non-choreographed exploration of this communication between these bodies.
How do I add to that? That's like perfect. That is it.
Yes.
Okay. So when Kelsey and I designed this workshop, we designed it with everyone in mind. We wanted to make it accessible for anyone. So you don't have to have any experience with Contact Improv or with dance or even movement therapy. Just come willing to dive more into yourself and leave with more self-awareness.
So if you are feeling called to join us for this workshop, text contact to the number on the screen. And our workshop is April 13th, Saturday from 10 to 4 p.m. We would love to dive in with you.